a big believer and fan of Dubai and that city. I mean, it reminded me there's no crime, beautiful architecture, no crumbling infrastructure, safe, no homeless, no needles, kids running around 10 o'clock at night. Their parents could be a block away. It's just a model city. It reminds me of what Western cities could actually achieve when they don't let the woke agenda get in the way of, we need the needles for the drug addicts. We need the homeless park over here. We need the homeless encampments. We're not going to spend the money on infrastructure. It is probably the prettiest city I've ever been to, a marvel of both economics and architecture. I long for that in the Western world, whether it's Canada or the U.S. It's an amazing city.
And would you agree with me, and I think you would, that it is all based on heavy industry, fossil fuels, steel, which can only be made by coal? Like, it is a kind of city that Ayn Rand's novels would be written about.
That's what I thought of. Yeah, in fact, I went up the tallest building in the world. Amazing feat. It takes you 1 minute to go 144 stories to the top. And it reminds me of what, say, the United States, the 1950s, the idea of just that uninhibited economic growth without all this, there's no agenda like, we got to have massive, endless environmental impact statements and bureaucratic and what's the carbon footprint of that. No, they're building stuff because it's the right thing. And it's just unbridled. I hate to say unbridled because you think of unbridled capitalism, which apparently is a negative term, but unbridled development that I just wish the West would once again embrace. We're going the opposite way. Everything is going to be about limits, austerity, regulations, and cutting back. Whereas I got to tell you, the United Arab Emirates did not get that memo. And as you mentioned, the COP president didn't get it because he ridiculed the UN. Actually, the COP president was from the United Arab Emirates, Sultan Al Jaber, and he literally said there was no science to support the net zero 1.5 degrees Celsius.
You can lead by example. And like I said from the beginning, I accepted to come to this meeting to have a sober and a mature conversation. I'm not in any way signing up to any discussion that is alarmist. I am here factual and I respect the science. And there is no science out there or no scenario out there that says that the phase out of fossil fuel is what's going to achieve 1.5. 1.5 is my North Star. And a phase down and a phase out of fossil fuel, in my view, is inevitable. It is essential, but we need to be real, serious, and pragmatic about it.
But the real serious and pragmatic doesn't take into account that we are in, I respect that you've done a lot of hard work preparing for this COP and that you've listened to the science. The science is very acute now. We don't have any time. They say 6 or 7 years. We've got to peak by 2025, latest in fossil fuel. New fossil fuel. And your company is investing in a lot more new fossil fuel. And that's going to hurt women.
Ma'am, you've just accused me of something that is not correct. I'm sorry, I don't take it. Now I ask you to prove to me.
I read that your company is investing in a lot more fossil fuel in the future.
Yes, ma'am, you're reading your own media, which is biased and wrong. I am telling you, I am the man in charge, and it is wrong, ma'am. You need to listen to me, please.
I'm very pleased to hear it. I'm very pleased to hear it.
It is wrong. You guys write a lie and you believe it.
And he's right. You know how we know he's right? The UN scientists admitted it. Yeah. It was in the ClimateGate emails, Ezra. They said it was pulled from thin air. It's a political goal, the whole idea of the 2 degree or 1.5 degrees Celsius. So he was way ahead of it. Of course, he was vilified by the media and he ended up, his spokesman started it backtracking. He backtracked, tried to act like it didn't happen. They had to go with the narrative in the end. So sadly, he backed away, but there was a moment of truth that was nice.
Isn't that interesting? I want to say one more thing about the United Arab Emirates before we really dig into the conference, which is there are no pro-Hamas riots or rallies or hate marches in the streets there. In fact, I saw an image the other day of them lighting a Hanukkah menorah in the United Arab Emirates. And that's a way in which the U.A.E. is superior to even our own cities in the West, where these anti-Semitic hate marches are on the prowl. That's just a personal observation on my part. But let's get back.
Well, I will also add there was a lot of nativity scenes set up. I'm sorry, not nativity scenes, Christmas trees, Christmas scenes, no nativity scenes, and no crucifixes, but everywhere you went was Christmas themed. So they're open as far as that. And one last point, even if you look it up, LGBTQ marriage, people say, oh, it's a repressive Muslim dictatorship. No, even that, even the worst critics have very little to say. They have a lot of old laws, which apparently aren't enforced. So it's not like they're jailing and imprisoning that I was able to see or even research. It really is an amazing city that the West could learn a lot from.
Hey, I got to tell you, I'm going on a cruise with a whole bunch of rebels. We're sailing out of Fort Lauderdale on March 23rd, 2024. That's not so far away, less than 6 months away. A gorgeous trip around the Caribbean. Holland America Line, boy, is that luxurious. And we're going to bring some of our favorite rebel talent. Sheila Gunn Reid, David Menzies, and can you believe it? We're actually bringing Tamara Leach with us, and you are invited. That's rebelnewscruise.com.